So I'm Aaron Parker from Centrica Business Solutions. Today I will be briefly speaking about supporting the NHS to net zero and the work that we're doing to do that. Bit of introduction first of all as to who Centrica Business Solutions are. We'll have a look at the landscape and the decarbonisation options, funding options that are available, and obviously if there's any questions, more than happy to answer them. Or you can come and find me on stand A14 and we can go through that and detail upon detail upon detail. So in terms of some introductions, Centrica Business Solutions is part of Centrica PLC, so a FTSE 100 company, £1.6 billion worth of financial operating profit in 2024. We have been working with companies since 1812 as the British Coal and Coke Company originally, and then developing through as we press forward. We're split into three divisions. So we have the retail division, the optimisation division, and the infrastructure division. The simplest way to look at this is business to business, business to customer, and then the infrastructure in terms of dragging energy out of the ground or producing energy via spirit energy, ball gas, and energy storage as well. In terms of our global footprint, as Centrica Business Solutions, we have just under 2,300 sites in the UK, just over 1,000 in the EU, 2,400 in North America, and the rest of the world 1,200. These are obviously growing day by day, week by week, but latest numbers as of last week. So as we go forward and look at what else we do and how else we can support other things, we've done over 20,000 energy efficiency solutions have been delivered, 290 megawatts of battery, and over 1,000 megawatts of heat. Centrica Business Solutions purchased a company called NHEEM based in Salford down the road about 8 years ago, developed into Centrica Business Solutions, is where we are now. So as Centrica Business Solutions, we build, operate and maintain your energy asset. It's not just a case of designing it and delivering, but we look to maintain as well. We have the largest fleet of engineers in the UK, not just as British Gas, but Centrica Business Solutions in terms of the solutions that we look after and maintain. There's a range of technology we look for and look after. A few of them named on the screen, and we'll go into a bit more detail in a couple of slides' time. So in the landscape and decarbonisation options, there's a balance that must be reached. An NHS trust may want to go to the best carbon saving it physically can, or they may want to look at the best financial saving it physically can. However, there's always that balance. You can't necessarily have the best carbon saving and the best cost saving. So decisions have to be made with the trust, the support of the trust, to decide how do they want to do this. Do you want to go best carbon saving, heat pumps and solar? Best cost saving, CHP and solar? There's different options and different considerations to make. And as part of this, the conversations need to be around what's their end goal and how they want to achieve things. It may be that they look for a short-term carbon increase to get the cost efficiencies and the savings to then pay for additional services as they move forward in 5, 10, 15 years' time, reaching their targets still, but ensuring that they've got that backup, they've got that financial backing to pay for the projects as they move forward. Within CBS, we have a four-point plan. So originally we do planning, so this is looking at the financing, this is going through planning and consents, making sure if you're putting in a 2 megawatt heat pump, you actually have the capacity to be able to power a 2 megawatt heat pump, and the DNO can support that. And also looking with our net zero consultancy team to go through, create glide paths, make sure that we can support the team and reach the goals they're looking for before we start to do any further work. There's no point knowing where you want to go, or trying to reach a target without knowing where you want to go and how you're going to get that through to that glide path. Once we've planned the project with the customer, we then go into a cutting phase. So the cutting phase is reducing the energy consumption. So these could be things such as pipework installation, looking at the PMS system, how that integrates, making tweaks and changes. So we have situations maybe where we look at putting LEDs in, roof insulation, window replacements, and also monitoring the energy usage down to device level. If you have a pump that's operating 24/7, 365 days a year, but actually the process that's behind that's only operating 5 days a week, you don't necessarily need to have that pump running. Why is that operating, and looking at the usage of this? So then we look at conversion. So conversion is adding in additional technologies to support the project as we go forward. So we've already met heat pumps are obviously a clear technology that lots of people are looking at. Solar PV, be this carports, roof mount or ground mount. There's also considerations to look at in terms of chiller replacements, 4-pipe heat pumps as opposed to 2-pipe heat pumps, and reusing and recapturing heat, but also things such as diesel generator replacements and going for more efficient diesel generators. You don't ever want to think that you need to use them, but at some point there will be a requirement to, so why don't you have them looked at and reviewed? And even down to hydrogen ready CHP. Now when you look at hydrogen ready CHP, and for those that have were here and looked at some of the previous presentations, hydrogen is something that is going to be here in the future, but isn't here now. I can deliver hydrogen to you today, no problem at all, but it's how you're going to store that and how you're going to use that and the cost of having it. So when we talk about hydrogen ready equipment, the equipment can run on hydrogen, there's no issue with that. However, at the current time you would run it on natural gas, get the savings, wait for the next changeover, wait for the next overhauls, and then you have the conversion when you're ready to do so, rather than just making the rapid changes straight away. There's also looking at external solutions. So do we need to do high voltage power upgrades or district heating systems, being connecting them to the site, or actually using the site, any excess heat that we can provide, can that go back into the site to be a feeder back into the district heat network, giving the trust an alternative way to create additional money coming in. Now, lastly, and you'll notice the slide is quite busy in terms of the number of things that we do. There's optimization, there's operation and maintenance, and there's renewable energy contracts. Whilst there's lots on this slide, and there's lots going on, it needs to be considered you can't do things by themselves. At some point, your solar array needs to talk to your BMS system, which needs to talk to your heat pump system. You can do these all remotely. I'm not saying you can't, but it's very, very difficult to build a car buying it one component at a time. The best way to look at this is if you've got one company that can support you and understand where you want to be, understand your path that you want to take, the goals you want to reach. They can look at this in a holistic perspective and actually start to develop in, okay, we'll make changes here, we'll make changes there, and develop this across the course of a project, rather than just taking each of these individual projects, because then also you have a situation where the BMS controller, the BMS company will say, well, it's the solar company say, well, actually, no, it's the heat pump company, and you end up in this round and round circle. It's much easier to be able to turn around and say, right, it's one company, we're working with these people, they're looking to support us on this, and they're the people that we go to with any issues and any problems and any concerns that we have. In terms of trust that we've been working with and the work that we've been doing, rather than listing out all of these, I've just taken a select few, noting the services that we provided, who's taken what and what the primary fuel saving has been. So CHP has generally been a key product, as when we were in IHEEM, we were quite happy working with CHP. However, obviously technology's changed, carbon goals have changed and things are adapting. With the PSTS, it wasn't classified as a technology to be using, and there was obviously concerns from that perspective, but without the PSTS, there's also now considerations, well, do the trust want to have a look at alternative ways, put a CHP in for a short period of time, potentially look at RGGOs, following the EU ETS. Currently the UK don't follow this, but at some point we're expecting a change to happen. So trying to understand different technologies that can be used, how they interface with each other. If we take Heartlands or Wye Valley, these are the two sites that have taken the majority of the technologies and looked at the majority of technologies. But others are taking little snippets here and there, and then there's the next phase and the next plan and the next thing that we're looking to do with these trusts. Moving on to funding options. When you're talking about funding a project, pre-PSTS4 being phased away, the simplistic thing was, okay, we need the capital. That's all we need. Let's get the capital done, and then we'll look at the OPEX cost and how that affects things. As a trust, having the money to be able to do the work is lovely. It's nice to have. Yes, you've got to put in your percentage, you've got to have your contribution. However, you've got to consider operating costs within this as well. When you now look at without the PSGS, and obviously we're still waiting for guidance as to the next phase and the next thing that's happening. It's looking at other options, financial options that are available. So working with Carbon Energy Fund as one of the contractors on the list, we offer an in-house range of finance solutions to support the customer on their decarbonisation journey, which doesn't just look at the capital outlay and what you need to do the initial works, but also looks at the ongoing maintenance. Sorry. It's been a long 2 days, maybe a long night. So when you look at the ongoing maintenance as well, you need to look at this over a 15-year period, 20-year period, 25-year periods, depending on the technology that's being used. So when you look at bundling the technology together and the assets together with the maintenance, you need to be able to provide the customer with savings that they can achieve, but also provide them with the understanding that things are going to be there, you're going to support them, and how you're going to deliver these savings moving forward. So to list off a few in-house options, and when we say in-house, this is our money. This is not going to a bank. This is not us going to find a finance lender. This is our in-house solutions that we provide. The in-house solutions are discount energy purchase or CHP as a rental, where we look at purely CHP. So you can have a CHP installed, sub 1 megawatt. This can be over a 4 to 6 year period. Pence per kilowatt rate, nice and simple, nice and easy. And there's a maintenance tariff. There's no minimum generation required. If you know you're going to be operating, only for 5,000 hours a year, no problem at all. You push up to 7,000 hours a year, no problem at all. If that drops down to 0, no problem at all. Solar PPA, standard PPA, power purchase agreements, pence per kilowatt rate. There are other options available, so we can look at doing a tracker system. So the tracker works over the 15-year period. It will only go up to a set cap, so it follows the energy market, always at a discount, but follows the energy market. This gives you the option to say, let's say we're at 20 pence, the rate that we agree, and it goes up to the rate and the market goes up to 30p, but we're only going to go up to 22. If it drops down, we may drop down to 15, but the market may drop lower, but you know you're going to be within that banding, so you always get your savings unless the electrical market really drops out. Things like heat pumps are a difficult thing to be able to finance and understand how to finance these. So we have seen people try and offer a pence per kilowatt rate on heat being generated, which doesn't really work because you're paying for the electricity to go in and then you're paying for the heat to be generated, and it's all about the COP of the heat pump. So our proposal is actually, this is on a fixed monthly fee. So during the summer months, it's not better for you, but during the winter months, you're not penalised for turning on the heat pump and actually needing heat. It's just a nice fixed monthly fee, flat rate as you go through. And then as these all get bundled together, there are things that we can do which are energy service agreements. Energy service agreements combine all of these technologies. You can look at pence per kilowatt rate, you can look at a fixed monthly fee. There are considerations to take on off-balance sheet and on-balance sheet, and these are generally on a case-by-case basis, but on-balance sheet and off-balance sheet is a viable option depending on the technology that's being used and the work that's being completed. There are the advantages, obviously, going directly with ourselves is that there's no third-party financer. You're not trying to do a tripartite agreement. You're not trying to keep their rates where they want them to be and work through that process. It's two businesses working with each other, making sure we can deliver the services that we're trying to deliver. Now, I appreciate I've only been here 15 minutes, but I also know that one of the next people wants to get on because they want to get a train home, so I'm going to try to make it as quickly as possible for them as well. So, just very briefly, in conclusion, we are a trusted energy partner. We have been around for over 200 years. We're within the FTSE 100. We're supported by Centrica PLC with Chris O'Shea at the helm, and we've successfully delivered these EPC contracts for the NHS for a fair few years. Our longest contract currently is 18 years old that we've been operating on. All works are done in a safe manner. We are very keen on health and safety. Health and safety is a key thing for us, and we want to make sure that every single person that works for us goes home in the way they turned up in the morning. We're committed to maximising energy and carbon savings, and as part of CEF, obviously there are performance guarantees that we must reach, and if we're not doing this part of CEF, we still put those performance guarantees in. It's not something that we just have with them, but it's something that we insist on from our perspective because we need to be held accountable. We need to make sure we deliver on what we're promising to No point saying that we're going to give you £1 million saving and only turn up with £10,000 saving. So we want to make sure that we have these performance guarantees. And just to finalise, we can fully fund the project. There is no capital up front. There's no requirement for you to put any money in. This is for us to This is there we go. So there's no commitment, financial commitment from yourselves. We will fund this project. We will go through the plan, cut, convert, complete stages with you. We will fund this from the outset. We'll use our own in-house teams, use our consultants, use our consent teams, make sure everything is planned, has the planning permission, has all the consent, the DNO requirements, and is fully covered by us. And it's only at the point of generation that things start to actually generate and provide the services that we've been promising you from the outset. That's the point that the contract starts, and then savings are realised for yourselves, and obviously the payback is from Centrica. Nice, short, brief, simple. Any questions at all? If you do have a question, I'm at stand A14, just behind Schneider Electric. So feel free to come over, have a chat with me and the team there. I will be drinking a bottle of water to try and get my throat back together. Thank you very much for your time.